have lifted so many people's lives that I often say, because of Calle and individuals within Calle, that if it wasn't for my two daughters being able to see and be part of their lives, I could check out right now of life and feel so satisfied just because of that. It's that level of impact that makes you feel so fulfilled, that you understand, like, giving is receiving. All these like kind of like cheesy messages, they're not cheesy whatsoever. It's when you go all in on just being selfless to help other people. You can't go into the game if you're gonna half step it or not, or be immersed in the risk. Like, the risk is just like, I don't even understand it almost. I don't. I'm just
You're
like,
just so...
I'm going.
Yeah, you're
I'm going full. I'm breaking the walls down with my head.
Welcome to season 2 of the Thrive podcast. Our next guest will have you at the edge of your seat and fully plugged in. Adam San Miguel is a force, a proud Cuban American entrepreneur with a rebellious spirit. Adam leaned into his roots and founded a national nonprofit empowering Cuban American college students through scholarships and leadership development. You may know him as a co-founder and CEO of Cortaditos, a mission-driven Cuban-style coffee brand that's quickly becoming a movement. Now with 6 thriving locations across New Jersey and a team of over 60 employees, get ready for a conversation about purpose, culture, building community through entrepreneurship. Please help me welcome Adam San Miguel to the Thrive podcast. Hi, Adam.
Hello.
How are you? Thank you so much for coming on to the Thrive podcast. I'm so excited to have you on. We are just getting started with season 2, and I have been trying to get a hold of you for maybe all year. You're a busy guy.
I feel bad. It took this long, but between work, nonprofit, military, family, it's challenging to find carve out enough time to be strategic about this.
Of course.
But congrats on this. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Great setup, family affair. It's
Thank
beautiful.
you, yes.
It's beautiful to see someone putting their project out there and actually making it happen.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate you being here with us today. So when I was getting to get a little bit of more information, doing my little digging about you, I realized you had like maybe 5 different lifetimes. So I do want you to kind of get into detail about like your background, and we can kind of make the way to Cortaditos now. So I do have a question for you. So as a proud Cuban American, which you are, I think you're very loud and proud about it, which I absolutely love and adore to see that. How has your roots played a part in who you are today and the entrepreneur that you are today?
Great question. And I think, you and a lot of your viewers will probably be able to understand, coming from, immigrant background, your parents were born in a different country than you are, your grandparents as well. So for me, now that culture plays a central role, not just in who I am, but the things that I get to work on, just because the world works that way and life works that way. When I was a young kid, a child, I don't know, 5, 10, whatever years old, I rejected a lot of that influence. It was very difficult for me to grapple with the 2 languages, 2 cultures, a place that my grandparents would always talk about and make references to, cry about with their pain with Cuba. And I just didn't understand it as a young kid. So as a young kid, that I was rebellious and wanting my independence. Everything that my parents and grandparents would project on me was something that I wanted to reject. So I actively rejected it. I'd get slaps in the back of the head for not speaking 2 languages and not speaking Spanish right. And so I just rejected it. But as life has its funny way of playing its role, as my grandparents start passing away, as I was 13, 17, 20, whatever, my grandparents and my grandmothers, I became super curious about it, super interested in the topic of Cuba, my roots, and not just my family story, but the greater geopolitical story that is Cuba in the world. And so I just went full in on learning about it, being passionate about it, not because anyone told me to do it. I couldn't get it off my mind. Mm-hmm. So fast forward, a long journey of discovering Cuba, discovering the history, discovering the culture, discovering how it has played an influence in my family, and that curiosity with a combination of action around it, not just reading a book, but actually meeting people, going to places, partaking in events, ended up starting a nonprofit founded around the concept of this next generation of Cuban American leaders to help contribute to a one-day free and prosperous Cuba. Then that led me to a business, and that's now my world. It's kind of like Mr. Cuba when I grew up again rejecting it. Right, I remember my grandparents crying about Cuba, and I didn't understand it. I had friends who were obviously Cuban as well, but Dominican, Puerto Rican, and they would spend summers in DR and visit Puerto Rico, and Jolie's family would go visit Colombia with. I think your uncle had a house in Colombia, and for us it was like get in the car and drive to Miami, and I'm like, I don't understand this. Like, why are we not in this? And so the whole geopolitical aspect of it made it really challenging to. But anyway, fast forwarding it, now it's my life. Now I'm carrying the torch forward, if you will, and I'm just in love with that journey. Although I always regret not being a more present kid. It's just who I was. I was rebellious. So if my mom said go left, I would go right. And my dad said sit down, I'd stand up. Right, whatever. So I understand it and I accept the journey. But it's part of my life, to answer your question.
So there are a few things that you mentioned that I kind of grasped on. So you mentioned that you're rebellious, which is very interesting. I feel like a lot of successful entrepreneurs are, and leaders. I think as a leader, you kind of are misunderstood a lot of the time. So I think that really, maybe at the time it wasn't ideal for your parents. But if, they're alive, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure now they can see like, wow, like who the man that you are today and what you created out of that personality trait, right? So I think that's a really beautiful aspect that you mentioned about yourself. And then I also would have never guessed that you rejected the Cuban culture, right? Just because of who you are today and who you're everywhere in the community, which I love to see. I think so many more, not just Cubans, but Colombians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, I think it's a very special place. I think that's what makes America so great is, the immigrants that have migrated to this country and built what they have built. I think that, this country is built on immigrants. So I think that's a beautiful thing. So it's funny to know those two things about yourself. So, yeah. Where do you feel like that pivotal shift, that shift happened? You were mentioning about like when your grandparents were passing.
Yeah. I think, I think everyone loves all their grandparents, but it's also important to understand where those keen connections lie. And for some reason, my deepest connection that transcends like even memory, but just goes into feeling, subconscious, whatever, is with my grandfather Cuco. And he passed when I was 17. And, it wasn't like a come to Jesus moment intellectually, but spiritually there was that void. And that void led me to start searching, and start becoming, discovering. And, oddly enough, where he lived is literally directly diagonally across from Cortaditos, the first one we founded. So if you're in Cortaditos on 45th Street and Park Avenue and you're looking out the windows, you can just see where Cuco lived. So it's kind of like, funny.
Yeah,
like I said, how life plays
full
out.
Circle, full circle moment. Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that. Okay. So what actually inspired you to create a nonprofit organization? How did that kind of come about?
Yeah. So as I began to get very curious about Cuba, that curiosity, with my added ingredient of being a person who's very action oriented, I don't really speak through words as much as I do through actions. And, I started meeting, political activists. I started meeting entrepreneurs. I started meeting people who were founding nonprofits around this concept of Cuba. And I realized that it's so curious to me and so engaging for me, and it really occupies a lot of my mind space. And anytime there's a Cuban project or just una viejita cubana, like an old Cuban lady, I could just lose hours. Like it just sucks me in for whatever reason. I think it's obviously the grandparent stuff, but it just sucks me in. So I said, this is something I love doing. What's my role in this, right? Am I just like a bystander watching Netflix or something? This, what's my role? And what I saw is, and I continue to see, is something very natural that happens in this country that you mentioned, the nation of immigrants, is the children, or sometimes even the immigrants that come, we get caught up in building our own lives. Everyone has to work, pay bills, go to school, etc. And so the capacity and interest to keep the home country, especially a place like Cuba that is a unique place for negative reasons in terms of their geopolitical challenges, right? A communist government that's lasted so long and caused so much pain. It's what's our role in doing that? And so the life here converts into an indifference, right? It's like you just forget that past and you live in the status quo. So someone like myself, I say, what can I do to change that, right? What can I do to influence it? Although it's a global problem, it's not like you're not solving something within your household. You're taking on a geopolitical issue, and so how do you change, or how do you attempt to change? And I just saw that there's a big void in the youth, our generation, and below us, right? Young kids now, I'm 40, 20-year-olds, and you see this going on for 60 years in Cuba, where a communist regime has been there. Well, I've seen my grandparents pass away and not see Cuba free. My parents may pass away and not see a free Cuba, while I pass away and see that as well. Regardless of when it happens, the next generation has to play a major role in doing something. So whether it's not the salvation for everything, but I truly believe that the next generation of Cuban Americans has to aportar su granito de arena, have to play their small part, their little grain of sand in the whole thing. So whether it's private-public collaborations, whether it's nonprofits, whether it's spurring entrepreneurship, whether it's investing, whatever it is that the Cuban exiles' role is in helping rebuild a free and prosperous Cuba, I viewed that void because there was no young kids on the scene. I would go to these meetings and I would meet these people and visit with organizations here in Miami, everywhere, and for the most part, they were older. Everyone was 50, 60, at the youngest. Most of them were 70, 80 years old. And so I viewed it as, what I could do was make sure that the next generation is, number one, interested, aware, and had the leadership capacity. So we built this nonprofit that had morphed over time into a leadership development program for Cuban American students that exposes them to leadership in the context of our culture, and is purposeful about building leadership capacity so that basically they could embody three characteristics that I saw play out, and I've seen in some great individuals that I'm honored to call mentors and friends. Those characteristics are, number one, they were top in their field. So they're owners, business owners, they're doctors, lawyers, whatever. They reach the top of their careers. The second is they have a spirit of service. That success professionally is not just to be able to buy a next house, another car, or another vacation. That has to be done because we're individuals as well. But some portion of that time, money, power, whatever they've achieved, goes towards something they care about. That's beyond them, whatever cause. Cancer, and medio ambiente, you got me thinking in Spanish. How would you say that? The environment, dogs, cats, whatever is your jam, that's something, you contribute to something of that. And the third piece is Cuba, so that they have a proximity, a conocimiento, an awareness, a knowledge, and a care, a connection to their roots. And that three-pronged profile scaled not just one, two individuals or tens of, but hundreds and thousands of Cubans that we hope to bring through our program. In the future, we'll create a body of people that can help and help rebuild the country. So that's the goal now, and that's 12 years later. I wouldn't tell you this story 12 years ago. I would just say, hey, me and a couple of Cuban friends started a nonprofit to donate books or something. And then little by little, you stick with it, you grow, you meet people, and it flourishes. So now we're a national nonprofit organization that has students in multiple states across the country: California, Kentucky, obviously Florida, Texas, Georgia, New Jersey, obviously, and they go through this program where they will go to Miami as a group. We pay for that. They meet people in Miami community, go to museums, organizations. They'll go to DC, meet with politicians and think tanks, and so they get immersed into the political lens of it. Not to tell them how to think, but left to right view fully. And then in the last year, they'll visit Cuba, and we'll meet with people like the ambassador to the United States in Cuba, nonprofits that are doing work in Cuba. Again, also that they become these leaders that are successful in their careers, have a spirit of service, and care about Cuba.
Wow, that's incredible. Like, I didn't know it was actually on a national level. So I'm very proud of you. That's incredible. At what age did you start even thinking about creating this nonprofit?
My mid 20s is when I became active
Mm-hmm.
about taking my curiosity into action and becoming part of um, something
Yeah.
or creating something. And I founded the nonprofit. I think I was 29. So it was, yeah, maybe 28, 29, 12 years ago. It was 2013. Yeah, 2014, we got our official 501c3 already. So the ideation creation phase was probably the year before 2013. So 12 years ago. Yeah, I was 29, 28.
And what do you tell someone who is in that curiosity state of mind about something that they're becoming so passionate about and they want to create action behind it, but they feel like maybe their baby steps are not good enough? Or, yeah, like how was that process for you? You started with the group of friends, you said?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to one, seize the moment. So
Mhm.
take action on whatever it is that is sort of picking at you.
Yeah.
Understand what's picking at you first and then take action on it. So what can action look like? Action is definitely learning. Become a student of whatever it is you care about first, not just projecting yourself,
Yeah.
but actually become a student of it, a student of it. So reading, watching videos, whatever. The second and a very important piece is to surround yourself with people that are in the world in some form or fashion that you care to be in a meaningful way. So I would just track people down. I'd try and join organizations. I'd travel to meet people. When there was a conference on topics, I would be attending in it. I flew out to Miami for one day for
Hmm.
a conference that was kind of like not politically because it's about Cuba.
Yeah.
And I remember staying with my cousins, and they're like, and they said in Spanish, obviously, but they're like, you came for a political conference about Cuba in Miami. They're like, tú sí que estás jodido. Like, you're fucked in the head, you know what I mean? But you just have to throw yourself in it. So action, surrounding yourself with the right
Yeah.
people. And then if those two things will naturally
Yeah.
birth your role
Mhm.
and your what role you'll play
Mhm.
in that you want to do.
Yeah.
So for me, it was surrounding myself, learning little by little, and then finding what I thought was a big void, which is I'm like the only freaking person here who's like
Yeah.
under
Who cares?
50. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares and is under
Yeah.
50 years old.
Yeah.
So I just took that and I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to Jersey, found a nonprofit, and this is how it's going to go. And 10 years
How do
later.
you find most of they're mainly students, correct? That are in this nonprofit. Like, what age group
Yeah,
are these
they
students
apply
typically?
they apply when they're applying to colleges.
Okay.
So when you apply to colleges in the last year of their senior year, or that so this year, for example, I go to all those high schools in Jersey that have like typically Hispanic and Cuban population. So Memorial, North Bergen, Union City, Jose Marti, Hudson County, Elizabeth schools. We'll personally go to those schools, pitch to the students, show them the program. Last year we took a trip, not me, but someone who works for us, our program director. She took a trip to Kentucky, and because Kentucky has a booming Cuban population,
Okay.
and then we'll send materials and flyers to schools in Florida, Texas, and through social media try and get the word out. Those students will then apply to the program as they graduate. It's a scholarship that they can apply to and a leadership development program. So because our funds are limited, we give three $10,000 scholarships out a year. And typically we get dozens of applications, 50, 60, whatever, and we'll accept. So we'll give 3 scholarships away and we'll also evaluate them for the program. And typically students enter the program between 20 and 40 students a year
Okay.
enter the leadership program, which is way more valuable than the $10,000. But as an 18-year-old kid, you may not understand that.
Of course, yeah.
But the value of mentorships, the leadership workshops that they go through, the trips that are fully funded, the breadth of people that they meet and knowledge they get is just it's literally life changing. Not because it's me doing it, I founded it, but it's life changing, right? I've seen it change lives. I've seen open perspectives. I've seen kids transform. I've seen kids get like so many aha moments because they get inspired, not just from the program, but the people we put them in front of, right? Leading entrepreneurs, leading activists, leading political thinkers, people who are actors in all areas of society, like just like them, came from Cuba or son of Cuba or the children of Cubans that are doing big things. And so that naturally inspires you to say, like it did for me. I'm like, wait, what am I doing? What's my role in this? And then you start to figure that out. So it's a very positive environment.
I love that. Do you feel like when they're entering the program, they have a less knowledge of what Cuba really is, and they're just kind of like you at the age of 27, 29, having that curiosity also?
Sometimes the curiosity is not there.
Okay.
And sometimes the knowledge is even worse because many of them are born, most About 50+% are born in
Right.
Cuba. And when you're in Cuba, you get a different message. You get a propaganda message about the history of Cuba. So many of them are uninformed or misinformation. Many of them are disinterested because this generation of Cubans that leave Cuba now are very disheartened with the circumstances there. So they're leaving a different Cuba than my family left in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And it's a place that many people just never want to look back to.
Yeah.
Many people will tell you, for example, if my mother would, not me, but they'll tell me if my mother lived in Cuba, I would never go back to Cuba.
Right.
Because it's
Yeah,
a
I've
dire
heard that
situation.
before,
It's
yeah.
a dire situation. So there's a different engagement that we provoke with that type of person that awakens them to the beauty that is our culture, to the successful nature of our people that in all areas, entrepreneurs, politics, music, like you just see like, wow, this isn't a story of misery and poverty
Yeah.
and long lines to buy chicken and fata, how do you say fata? Escasez de cosas. How would you say that?
Condiments?
No, fata is like not access, like not enough
Resources.
food, terrible conditions. It's not like Cuba is not. I mean, it is that now, but that's not everything it is or was.
Right. There's beauty to it.
Yeah, there's beauty to it. So discovering that piece of it, discovering a very complex history with such impact geopolitically for such a small country, and then awakening them to them having agency in that future is really what we're doing, and it's beautiful to see different moments of different students awakening. And
It's beautiful to see the phases.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What do you feel sparked your interest in becoming like a leader and a mentor for other people?
It's always been a strength of mine, leadership. Sometimes you grow up and you don't understand how your qualities fit in with different scenarios, and at some point you have to reflect and accept. And I look back and I was always, nominated to be captain of whatever teams I played for, sports, and I've always been looked to and sought after for leadership in all levels, whether it's school, work. I've always had that profile. So that's something that I think I've been given and I've worked on. It's always good to have a gift, but also strengthen it. So I've done both. I've realized that I've accepted myself that my best and only contribution is usually as a leader. And that in this area that I care about, it also requires my leadership, not just to be a witness or a bystander, but to be an agent of change in that. So over time, you just accept who you are and you become to embrace it, and then you strengthen those leadership characteristics. And I've always been blessed to be around great mentors, coaches, friends, great people around me. I've always had great people around me. Yeah. That's a blessing I've always had.
It's such an important thing to have that I feel like a lot of people miss. They're trying to see the goal, get to the goal. And I feel like for me too, I feel like over the last couple of 5 years, I've really surrounded myself with really incredible people. And it's completely transformed my paradigm, my perspective in life. And
1,000%.
I have no limitations,
Zero.
because you see what other people are capable of and the environments, the conversations, the life and the impact, to be honest. So
the impact is the it's the game-changing component, because I've gotten inspired, I've gotten coached, mentored, helped. It's a people journey. It's always a people journey. But when you start to make impact like that, your direct life, like the life that I live, directly lifts other students' lives or other people's lives. They're not just students, they're people. And not by a byproduct, not like I did this that then led to that and that someone benefited from. That's not what I mean. No, my direct things I put my hands on, my head in and my heart in have lifted so many people's lives that I often say, because of Calle and individuals within Calle, that if it wasn't for my two daughters, just my two daughters, being able to see and be part of their lives, I could check out right now of life and feel so satisfied just because of that. It's that level of impact that makes you feel so fulfilled, that you understand giving is receiving. All these kind of cheesy messages, they're not cheesy whatsoever. It's when you go all in on just being selfless to help other people, people that you didn't even know. It's one thing to help your family, right? Like my cousin, my friend, my brother, whatever. But when you have met an individual that you did not know before, you did something, and then you're doing something to actively help them, it's a different level of love. And like I said, I just repeat it again because it's the fundamental feeling I've gotten is if it wasn't for my kids, just Mariela and Natalia, being part of their lives and them having a father, etc. Not that I wanna, I'm just getting started. But if it did happen that I walk out here and get hit by a bus
You're
after this,
fulfilled.
I'm good. Like high five, let's do it. Like rock out, do whatever you want to do for the funeral or whatever. Celebrate it, cry. I don't care. I'm 1,000% good.
I'm telling you, you've lived like 5 or 7 lives.
Maybe like a cat.
Okay, so before we get into how Cortaditos came about, I do want to know. I think when I first met you, I knew that you were United States Marines, right?
Coast Guard.
Coast Guard.
Yep.
What made you join the Coast Guard, and what was that experience like for you? And what I'm assuming that you've also gained a lot of like leadership experiences from that as well.
Yeah. The desire to serve for me, when I had an awakening moment, was 9/11. I was in high school, and I went to a high school in Jersey City, St. Peter's Prep, that if you probably map it out, it's probably 1.2 miles from ground zero. And seeing the towers fall, be evacuated from our school, being so close to ground zero, the impact it had. I remember going home with a classmate of mine, a friend of mine, who lived in Brooklyn, who couldn't get home because obviously the bridges, tunnels, everything was closed off. So he slept over my house for a couple of days, couldn't get in contact with his mom. And I remember being on the couch with him, watching, like everyone, the whole world was watching the news of the towers going down. And I thought, what the hell am I doing sitting here? Like, why am I not digging rubble up and doing something? And I was 16.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't my place. Maybe it was, I don't know. But that just stuck with me. I'm like, why am I not doing anything to help? So then I finished high school, went to college, played college football, and football was very consuming for me because I was very into it. I was very good at it. And then after college, you used to just start working and get a job. But I went to go join the Army, National Guard, when I was sometime out of college, 24, 25, I forget. And typical, Cuban Hispanic mother got on her knees, and I can see it happening right now, got on her hands and knees and cried to me in our kitchen and said, please don't join. Please don't join. This was the height of like Iraq War. It was like 07, 08, 09.
It was a tough time, yeah.
So she just couldn't fathom the idea of her son going to, getting shipped to Iraq, Afghanistan, whatever. And she'll probably tell you it's the only time in my life I listened to her. So I didn't do it. And
wow,
I did not. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
can you imagine?
Yeah.
The tears and the kneeling was it sold me. But that itch never went away, and every once in a while I find myself emailing recruiters from all different branches, whether it's Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, just to see like what the options were. And then when COVID happened, I think everyone went into deep reflection mode, and myself included. So I just said to myself very simply, I said, will I regret not having joined and served in some form of military capacity or not? Because at that time I was 35 or 36, I forget.
This was during COVID.
Yeah, when I joined.
Oh, okay.
So
you joined before that.
No, okay. No. I wish. But so I basically said I was aging out. Like there's a age limit of when you can join the military, and I was getting close to all those different branches age limit, which was then late 30s. And I said, will I regret not doing this? Yes or no? And the answer was clearly yes, because I kept emailing recruiters and kind of half-stepping it. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And I make a lot of unpopular decisions with my family. Yeah. This was probably the most unpopular, and there was zero support. Yeah. When I say you have to make decisions when you have zero support, you have zero support. So you're going to do it on your own or not. So parents, family, anyone who looked at me and said, wait a minute, you have this nonprofit, you work at one of the biggest companies that the world has ever seen. At that time, I worked for Microsoft. Okay. And was in the process of founding Cortaditos. What the hell are you doing with two daughters? One who's 6 months old and one who's 2 years old. Yeah, what the F are you doing? Yeah. People thought I was going nuts. Yeah. But you have to understand yourself, and you have to accept yourself. And for me, I had to do it. So being in boot camp, I'll never forget the first day when I shipped off to enlisted as an enlisted soldier with 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, kids out of high school.
A different age group, yeah.
I never forget the first, they start screaming you on the bus. It starts from moment one. And the first day you just sleep in what you were wearing on no sheets and bunk beds and all this other boot camp kind of stuff. And I remember,
You're like, what am I doing?
Julissa, I'll never forget. I was on the top bunk and I cried because of thinking, what is Mariela thinking? That I left her. You know, she was 2 years old. And so you don't get a chance. It's boot camp. You're not calling home.
Yeah,
So I went weeks without speaking to my daughter, and it was rough. But I would do it all over again because it means so much to me. And sometimes you question where you're spending your time, especially you mentioned before, getting time with me is challenging these days. Sometimes you question where you spend time and what's good use of it and what's not good use of it. But I can't tell you the feeling that it feels for me to put on the uniform that says U.S. Coast Guard and the other side says San Miguel for whatever reason. So yeah, I joined 5 years ago now, and I've learned a lot. It shaped another sort of iteration of who I am.
Another
layer of depth.
Sharpened you a little bit.
Yeah, no, it made me harder, sharper, and just the doing it. Because the thing about it is when you, especially in this country, it's very easy to get comfortable. Super easy to get comfortable.
Right.
Your car, your weekends, your trips, your Netflix, everything is just, it's not hard to be okay in this country. It's not hard. So I think a next level leader, I think it's incumbent upon if you want to be next level, if you really want to be next level, you have to be able to be humbled every so often. You have to be able to be a beginner at stuff. You can't just think you're hot shit. So you got to be a learner. You got to be able to go to the bottom. You got to be able to wash dishes. You got to be able to do everything. And so for me, at 35, working at Microsoft, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, having a nonprofit, being recognized in the community, having 2 daughters, a house, you name it.
That was your
to then getting
moment.
yelled at in the face next to 18-year-olds in a boot camp setting is the definition of what I just said, right? Get humble. You have no ego. Check your ego out the door. Just be one more and build yourself up. So for me, it's been a rewarding journey. There's been time for my family, trainings, traveling, but it's been very rewarding, and I'm grateful that I had the chance to do it.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope our audience can really, give our hats to you and just thank you so much for serving this country and following what is in your gut and in your heart, because that is a very humbling act and a very selfless act of service for you to do that at 35. So
thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So then now we are after boot camp. How long were you in boot camp for?
Boot camp was about 4 weeks, about a month.
Okay.
Yeah, it's typically 2 months, but they have a program for either you were prior service. So I had a bunch of former Marines, former Army, or if you had master's degrees and you were just advancing your careers, they didn't make you go through the full 8 weeks. So we went through a 4-week program. And then after 4 weeks, there was another training I had to go through that was 3 months. That was to go to the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, which is in Charleston, South Carolina. A lot of shooting, swimming, working out, some fun stuff. And then there's been other trainings like that. And then most recently, why we couldn't do it this summer was because I applied to then become an officer. So I was enlisted for 5 years, and I was going to age out of the ability to apply to be an officer in the Coast Guard. And so I applied and got in. And so I spent 5 weeks, maybe a month and a half at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy in New London. And I just graduated 2 months ago as an officer in the Coast Guard.
Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations. When does Cortaditos come into play?
Right now.
Because he's also, I don't know, he's also built 6 Cortaditos in the last, in between all of this.
Yeah, and sometime.
So
I would
love to, I think the people would love to know, how was Cortaditos born?
Great question. Very proud of how it was born. Cortaditos was born through CAIE, which is the Cuban American Alliance for Leadership and Education, the nonprofit that I founded.
Okay.
How was it born through that? I would go to local businesses to solicit donations for the yearly scholarship gala we have, where we raise our funds for the programming that we do. So when we take 30 students to Washington, D.C. from all over the country and pay for trains, planes, and Airbnbs and food for 30 people, that money comes from somewhere, not just myself. Back then it came from just myself, and then from others, and then from Cortaditos. But the scholarship gala is where we raise funds. So back in 2016, 2017, when we started doing a scholarship gala, I would go to local businesses. Most people would just kind of laugh at me or just yes me and then do nothing, because it's a defect in our culture, Latin Americans, Hispanics, that we don't understand philanthropy in the way that other cultures do.
Yeah.
And so really no one would donate. It was just not a waste of my time. Obviously now I could tell you the story that piece of it wasn't a waste of my time, but I would go down Burger Line and put like flyers up on Burger Line bakeries that no one would ever pay attention to. One Burger Line bakery owner would donate the coffee and Cortaditos to our scholarship gala. He would come with his coffee maker and just give out Cortaditos, espressos to people at the gala. And after a few years of doing that, we got to know each other. I would go work from this coffee shop / bakery as a virtual worker at Microsoft. When I wasn't traveling or in the office, I would go do a Friday work from the coffee shop and talk to my friend who would also donate to my nonprofit with his coffee. And after a few years of doing that, we became friends. And we would just, exchange war stories, what's going on with his business, how is it to work in corporate and manage a nonprofit. And basically we sat down and he said to me, do you want to help me bring this to the next level? I think you'd be the person that can help me do it. Okay. And I basically said, what are you talking about? Bring this to the next level. He's like, we're sitting in his shop in a place called Sweets and Cortaditos on 77th and Burger Line.
I'm familiar with that,
yeah. And one conversation led to another. We looked at numbers, we looked at strategies, we talked about vision, we talked about how we want to operate, and next thing you know, the rest is history. We went into partnership. We opened our first store together. It was supposed to be in the American Dream before 2020. We had a lease signed in 2019. What happened? COVID happened, and that completely got kiboshed, and things changed at the mall. It was closed. We got moved. So anyway, that was going on for a long time, and we said, well, we're still going to do this. Let's find another place. Yeah. So we found a place on 45th and Park Avenue in Union City, New Jersey, the place I was just telling you about. And we threw down there, and we opened in November of 2021, opened the American Dream the following year, 2022. In 2023, we redid North Bergen from Sweets and made it Cortaditos, and opened a central kitchen. So we have a 5,000 square foot space where all of our stuff is made. Cuban bread, empanadas, pastelitos, all that stuff. We opened that in the same year. In 24, we redid his first location, which was a small location in Belleville, New Jersey. Okay. Moved next door, bought the building, made a 2-story Cortaditos in Belleville. In June of 24, we opened that one. And then in November of 24, we opened in Harrison. And then this past year, so we're in 25. 2 months ago, we opened in NJCU, New Jersey City University. There was a former Dunkin' Donuts in the library. Nice. One of my degrees is from NJCU. So the president called me and said, listen, we don't want to pay Dunkin' Donuts $250,000 to remodel, which is part of the franchisee contract. Every 10 years, they have to remodel it. Would you want to open the Cortaditos here? Let me know, because there's a bid out for it. Wow. So the public bid, it's a public school. So we responded to the RFP and we won it. And we opened in August in NJCU. So we have 6 locations, nice. A central kitchen, and that's the real and I think beautiful history of Cortaditos.
That's incredible. That's fire. That is fire.
Yeah.
What have you learned through the scaling process? Because obviously this is your first time owning and being a CEO of a coffee shop and an establishment this big. What have you learned through this process that maybe other people can learn from when it comes to scaling this size?
The first message that I have for most people that are interested in entrepreneurship or interested in business is before the business or the entrepreneurial venture happens. It's the preparation for that. And many people like to skip that part of the journey. They love to skip it. They want to just hop into, some quick sort of scheme or idea that they think is going to blow up in 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever, and they're not fully prepared for it. So I was very prepared for those moments when we actually threw down. I was 35, 36 years old. I had worked for the largest corporations in the world. My last job was at Google. I had a master's degree. I had 2 bachelor's degrees. Not that you need any of that to make it happen. You don't. But for me, I went through a big learning process because in my family, my mom's a teacher. My dad was also a public, government worker. There was nowhere for me to point and think of like, what's the entrepreneurial venture here? Right. How do you build? How do you raise capital? How do you, we grew up similar stories where middle class poor, I would call it, where we had everything we needed, just in an urban neighborhood. But if you missed 1 or 2 checks, bills weren't being paid, right? So I didn't have that basis for knowledge. I just had confidence in myself, some natural abilities that everyone has, and a big desire. But through that time, college, post-college, my experience in tech, my degrees, my leadership training, a lot of reading, which people don't want to do these days, a lot of books about personal finances, about business, about networking, about selling, about everything. And there's a version that was extremely ready for these moments, right? It was kind of just waiting for the right moment.
You were just waiting for the right opportunity
to
come.
Correct. And obviously, like I said, everything with Cuba has my attention. So once he said, let's take this Cuban coffee shop to the next level.
Putting yourself in the right rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. So prepping for it. So are you financially prepped, right? What do your finances look like? If a storm happens, can you will the storm, right? So what's your savings look like? How are you managing your personal finances? Do you live above budget? Do you live below budget? How below budget, right? How humble are you? Or do you need to have the car, the nice apartment in Hoboken, right? Do you need all that stuff? My answers were always, I had the big prize, in my, which this isn't the big prize, right? We're just getting started. But I had this journey in mind. And so I was always prepping for it. So I was ready for the moment, financially, intellectually, personally, emotionally, leadership-wise. I was just ready for it. And not that I'm perfect. I'm very far from perfect in many ways. But for this, I was extremely prepped for it. So people just think throwing yourself into it, yeah, that's part of it. But I was extremely prepped for it. 1, there's a lot that goes into that. Reading, et cetera, mentors. 2 is, how risk averse are you? Like, what's your risk profile? And people have to be honest with themselves about that.
Your risk tolerance.
Correct. How tolerant are you to risk? And again, you have to reflect and accept. I've always been stupidly risk-taking, like confidence through the roof, like just
an exaggerated,
like obnoxious. Like people would hear my level of content and be like what? But yeah, I just don't. I've learned so much, and through Calle, the gratitude that I have for just life, we're not Starbucks. So what do I mean to say? When we were making leases, people want backing. They don't care who the hell we are and our little concept that we have. So people would say, okay, we'll give you this lease. What are you putting down as a backing? So my home, where I live, and the apartment where my parents live, which is also mine, are on half of the leases and a loan that we've taken out for Cortaditos, right? So if Cortaditos goes down, my daughters are moving out, and the plate on the food and their schools and everything, all of that is on the line.
So you're risking it. Your risk tolerance is high.
And what I'm telling you for me is, I didn't even think for a second about it. I feel bad even saying it. Jolie will tell you, she's like, I don't even think he asked me, right? Like it's bad. Yeah. It's to that level.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
But I accept that, and I accept the role that plays, and that I'm playing that role, right? You can't go into the game if you're gonna half step it or not, or be immersed in the risk. Like the risk is just like, I don't even understand it almost. I don't. I'm just I'm going. Yeah, you're going. I'm going full. I'm breaking the walls down with my head. So the preparation for it, how truly prepared are you for it? How studied are you? How knowledgeable are you? How many people have you been around that are in this? And 2, what is your risk appetite? Are you really willing to risk it? And that's a calculation also, right? You can go, many things can happen. You could put them on a spreadsheet and calculate what would happen. If I didn't have one sale for a year, what would I look like? How much money do I need? If this goes bad, so you can plan for it, but at the end of the day, you have to understand your risk profile. And then you have to care about people. If you're gonna lead anything big, it's not just, you can't do anything alone. Nothing. Sure. Even if it's a tech company and you think you could be the best coder or whatever, you still need so many moving parts that you have to care about people. And I think before, in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, I think you can get away with being a bad leader of people and still be, successful, entre comillas, in quotations. But nowadays, those layers just get stripped out more and more, right? So now people are, authenticity is valued, caring about people is valued, being kind in business is valued, not just a zero-sum game. Like I'm not trying to beat people who are negotiating with me. I'm trying to ensure that both of us, both parties, both businesses, vendors, buyers, sellers, are creating fruitful relationships that benefit both of us. So caring about people, your employees, like genuinely caring about their lives, is for me the fuel to scale, because scaling happens through people. And if you don't treat people right, you can't scale. And if you don't care about people right, you can't scale. And then there's a bunch of operational things like
So
systems.
it's not just you.
No,
Yeah.
of course not. No way.
Yeah.
No way. No way.
Yeah. What question, I mean, when it comes to finding a business partner, what are some non-negotiables for you guys? Maybe you guys had, these conversations, or what do you feel like makes a good business partner?
For us, it was pure luck. So I can give you some reflections on that afterwards, but I have to admit it was pure luck because my main business partner is Andres Carrillo, and people who meet us and work with us, whether you're inside the company or outside the company, everyone sees the natural synergies that happen when we work together. My really big strengths are things not only that are weaknesses for him, but things that he literally does not care to do or be or embody or have to think about. And vice versa. Things that he does really well are things that
you don't care about.
I just genuinely don't even want to know about them. So they exist, and I'm confident that I have a partner that's taking care of them, and I'm thankful that I don't have to take care of them, and vice versa. So it naturally works so well. Personalities, level of trust, those differences are so crucial, and the similarities are even more crucial. We both have a similar ambition, so we both have the same direction for the company. We both have the same level of grit and endurance. It's an endurance sport. It's a grit. It's how hard can you battle,
for how long,
and how many days can you battle. And for both of us, there's no limit. So those synergies and the differences are so important. And for us, it was just a stroke of luck. Reflecting on those synergies and differences, that's what would be what you're looking for, right? So when you're interviewing, not a formal interview, but when you're sitting with people, you can understand the energies. You can understand where there's going to be give and take. You can understand where you can insert yourself and where they can insert themselves. And those things you got to feel on instinct. You have to trust your gut. And that goes with the second point of becoming an entrepreneur or business person, the risk. You're still risking it. You're still risking it at some level. Andre, my partner, and me too, at the very most vile, negative level, he can go into our bank accounts right now and clean everything out and escape the country. And so could I, right? So you always have to understand that the risk is there. Just how much do you care and what's your relationship with that risk, right? There's a lot of business relationships that go south, right? You hear so many stories. My business partner quit or ran out on me or did this or, intentionally did that or was embezzling or was doing whatever, right? Just doing something that was not what you would agree with. So you have to be okay with that risk that at at any point things can go south. But we got lucky, and the synergies are really, really optimal, and so are the differences are really, really optimal. So it's such a fruitful relationship. Truly.
I love that. I love to hear that. I think that also came so naturally to you guys, and you're calling it luck, but I think it's because that authenticity part that you're talking about, how you were showing up and you were doing something that was very impactful and very mission driven, and that's how you guys both kind of met. So you kind of you guys attracted each other in that sense because you guys were both showing up as you both are, and that authenticity and all of that. So I think that's probably how things like those synergistic relationships that just feel very easy come.
Yeah, you described it super accurately. And almost like a therapist would. It's super true. It's what it's what we both were putting out. So me on one end was a social entrepreneur. I was literally just trying to make impact for the community. And that's how we came across each other. Him was a family-owned business. So you have on one side a family-owned business, and on the other side you have a social entrepreneur, and that connection is beautiful and synergistic, right? His father still works in the company, his brother-in-law still works, his sister still works with us. So it's truly synergistic on both sides. So I agree with you. I call it luck. As you peel the layers of the onion back, there's so many things that are happening subconsciously or maybe just by osmosis or a purpose that played into it.
Yeah,
1000%.
because I think like earlier entrepreneurs can probably get into this idea that they have to act like someone else or become like,
Yeah.
So I feel like
1000%.
that can be a good, like,
That's real,
little,
what you just said.
like, little part of the equation.
Very real.
Make sure
Authenticity.
that,
Yeah. Because you'll find you'll find yourself in the right spaces with the right partners, as opposed to pretending, and you'll be in maybe a space that's not for you or not a right fit. Like 1000%.
So what is your overall mission with Cortaditos, and why do you feel the brand has become what it is today?
I think I'll take the second question first. I think the brand has become what it is today, and I don't think it's anything major. I'm very humbled. I'm very grateful. I'm very ground level. We have 6 stores. Yes, it's an accomplishment, but it's nowhere near where we want to be. Nor is it anything that I think is super, super, super special. It's special, but nothing like crazy, right? We didn't solve cancer. I'm not the owner of Tesla, right? This isn't. We're still at the infancy stages, which is a beautiful place to be. I love it. I love the grind. The stories are told about this moment in time, right? So I love it. But if you will classify us as successful, which I do think we have been successful as creating something meaningful in our community that people value and benefit from, the reason I think is our care for people. I would say that is the fundamental ingredient that we put at the core, is we care about the people, number one. Employees, very much, their lives, legitimately, their children, their spouses. We enjoy relationships and we enjoy nurturing people. Number two is we have a commitment to our community. So we're there for a purpose, not because we thought about it afterwards or because it would sound nice or because that's what corporations do. You look at Google, what's their mission statement? Help the world or whoever, right? Yeah. No, it's because that's how we were founded. Like I had no business being in the coffee business or the food industry. Right. I'm the worst in the kitchen. Yeah. I literally am the worst in the kitchen. I can't make anything. Yeah, maybe a huevo frito, like fried eggs, and a mean peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I love that for
That's you. That's max. That's as far as I can get to. So there's no business me being here, except that I founded a nonprofit about something I care deeply about.
There's heart to it.
There's more than heart. There's everything in it. And so that he naturally cared about that as well. He admired it. He said, coño, he's Cuban, came when he was 25 years old. So he's one of the people that would have benefited from this. Yeah. And he's like, this guy's doing this. This is awesome. Like high five, rocking out about it. So the genesis of what we're doing has that DNA. It's unescapable. Even if we became, capitalistic or profit driven only, you still couldn't deny where we came from and why we're here, right? So why we're here is a big reason of that success. The community feels that, and we're not everything to everyone. We can't solve all the problems in the community. Right. Yeah. We can't donate to every cause, right? We still have to understand that as a social entrepreneur, it's still very important to make profit, and profit is not a dirty word. Why? Again, because I know why we're doing this. So I want more profits. I want a lot of profits. Why? Because I know when those profits are in these hands and my partner's hands and our business hands, I know what it's doing. It's trying to build programs for our people, our employees. We're working towards benefits always. We're working towards better conditions always. We have 401k benefits now, paid vacation now. Incredible. We want to get to healthcare. With 6 stores, it's extremely hard to do. Healthcare costs are very high, but we're always pointing north towards making our conditions better for us and our community. So we're trying to serve more students in Calle. We're always trying to help the community locally. We we sponsor sports. I'm a big sports guy. I told you the football background. We sponsor sports in every town that we have a Cortaditos in. And so we're proud of that posture. So the focus on people and the focus on community and our DNA, I think, is the biggest differentiator. Yeah. Then you get into the business. And we do have really good product because that same commitment to those two things, we have a commitment to the excellence of our business. We're not just going to be an average coffee shop. No, we're going to have a coffee shop that when you walk in, it's a captivating space. Yeah, it is a captivating space. Yeah. You have beautiful decor. It's a local business that competes with the biggest multinationals in the world in terms of our feel, right? When you walk into a beautiful Starbucks, there are some beautiful Starbucks, and you walk into a Cortaditos, we compete. It's a different look because it has our culture injected into it. But from the windows to the artwork to the counter all spaces,
of your senses are being activated.
We put a lot of emphasis in it, and we put a lot of investment in it. So we didn't just in our neighborhoods, people just turn over business really not do anything to it, not invest in it, not be really prepared for it. And it's kind of like just another one of those.
Yeah.
We changed the game. I will never forget in our 45th Street location, when people were doing the work that we were wanting to do, the electricians, the contractors, they would literally tell us, like, in Spanish, they would say, aquí hay que hacer un buen despojo, porque aquí nadie funciona. Here, you've got to do a spiritual cleansing because nothing has ever worked in this corner. Nothing. Those businesses in that same store, terrible. One after another would fail, and the people knew it. Now you come and visit a Cortaditos, this is how they talk about it. Oh, wow, it's a great location too. Now it's a great location, but 5 years ago, I had to do un despojo, I had to do a spiritual cleansing. So what we did was we invested in a way that our community, Hudson County, which is a very immigrant area, right? 86% Latin American population in Union City, is not used to seeing. We invested the way a Starbucks invests in their look and decor, but that no one on Burger Line, or not no one, but most people, most people don't.
Really see that.
So that was the first thing we did. That was like, we're throwing down, but we're not just doing, I'm not going to half step it. Like, we're going in hard.
Going all in.
Completely redid the windows. Like, the facade was completely knocked down. Put our windows in. It was like the first statement. So the excellence in the coffee shop, right? The look, the product. We're not just serving average commercial grade coffee. We select specialty grade coffee, which costs more to us, but is a quality coffee bean. Our food, Andres is really, really maniacal about quality of our food. So the pastelitos, we don't just like make a pastelito 5 years ago whenever he opened and say, that's it. No, we're constantly testing. We're constantly visiting other locations. We fly and visit. To say like, wait, should we be doing that? Is this better? So we have a constant commitment and hunger. Commitment, and hunger, but commitment to always going down and being humble and re-enlisting in the military and saying, wait, from the ground up, how does this look? If I'm going from the ground up, how would I do this again? And so we're constantly challenging ourselves to be better.
I love that. I think that's a really amazing statement for anyone who is on the pursuit of greatness, and that's exactly what they have to go through for big dreams to come to fruition, to be honest. Go all in, even if like the first steps don't look like, maybe your bank account doesn't look like it doesn't match your dreams, you know? And you have to kind of also understand that risk tolerance that you were talking about. Thank you for taking us there.
Of course.
That was incredible. So I do want to talk about, like we said before, you have multiple lives. You've had multiple career shifts. You had an incredible career with Google, Microsoft. You're a Coast Guard.
Yep.
All of these things, you have a nonprofit organization. How do you seem to not balance it, but how does everything kind of work in a synergistic way for you? And what would you tell someone who maybe are at the more earlier phases in their entrepreneurship journey, and maybe they are working a 9 to 5, or maybe they are working at in New York in an office or something like that, but they know that they're meant for more. They have that gap of like where their dreams, their dreams are, and like what the reality are.
Yeah, I think that's a big question. Most people's success, whatever they define it as, whatever your definition is, money, happiness, combination of both, time, however you define it, is usually created in your free time. So how you choose to use your free time is usually what accumulates to be the result. So everyone, mostly everyone, and I'm in everyone, has to work a 9 to 5. I had to work a 9 to 5. We didn't come from a family where I could do a gap year and just travel around the world and find myself. I didn't have anyone to invest in my business for me, and I would just put the hustle and daddy would put the money. That's not the case. Some people may have that, 1%, whatever. So I'm not talking about them. Most people have obligations, and those obligations, for the most part, are the same for everyone. There's a 9 to 5, you just described it, right? Everyone has a certain amount of hours that you have to give in exchange for a certain amount of money. But what you do before that 9 to 5 and after 9 to 5 will define your future, 10, 20, 30 years. And that's where I crush everyone. or mostly everyone. I just dominate everyone. So what do you feed your mind? Do you watch regular news outlets? Do you watch Netflix? Are you an Amazon Prime? Or are you reading books? How many books do you read a year? Right? Get real with yourself. How many books do you read? I'm probably around 20 something right now. I want to read about 4 or 5 more before the end of the year. So I'm an avid reader. I became an avid reader maybe in my mid-20s, and it's a life-changing thing. You have to be an avid reader. They say not all readers are leaders, but all good leaders are readers.
Yes.
So you have to be a student of whatever the hell you care about. You can't just think you know. No one's born with knowledge, right? I mean, you're born with skills, talent, characteristics, but no one's born with answers. So you have to be able to learn and interview people through those books, right? If you say, hey, how would you learn something about your industry? Well, pick someone in the industry, the top person, a business person, and they've probably written a biography. They've probably written a self-help book. They've probably written an interview. It's something where their thoughts are on paper, just like you and I are exchanging thoughts. You can go and get Elon Musk's thoughts somewhere. You can go get Bill Gates' thoughts somewhere. They're in a book. It's that simple, right? Now you have podcasts and things like that, so there's some shortcuts you could take, but you have to be a student of what you care to do. So before 9 and after 5, how are you using that time? Are you making your mind sharper? Are you increasing your network of people that are important to you? Are you fueling your body to have the energy levels to run that endurance marathon that we've been talking about? So how's your body? What new skills are you learning? Those things define. And over time, so for a month, there's probably maybe no difference. There is, but maybe not noticeably. But after 5 or 10 years of me waking up at 4:20 in the morning, working out, reading, all before you've woken up, and then after I got to work, reading more, meeting people that are contributing to my vision, my journey. I'm helping other people, they're helping me. It compounds exponentially. And I'm 40 now, so I probably have 15, 20 years of that compound effect where there's little competition at that level of interest, right? Compound interest. So the first thing to answer your question is the person who's in the office 9 to 5 is, yeah, great. Do what you got to do 9 to 5, but what are you doing before you're doing from 5 to 9? And what are you doing from 5 to 9?
5 to 9.
Yeah, literally 5 to 9 and 5 to 9. Those are 8 hours.
Yeah.
What are you doing with them?
Yeah.
Literally, what are you doing with them? And I would argue in an office job, at 9 to 5, there's still so much time in there.
Yeah.
Like these people who think that they're grinding from 9 to 5 in an office job, I'm sorry. Like lunches, office break, coffee breaks, downtime. Like, come on.
You'll make it happen. No matter what. Yeah. You'll find those little
They're not
moments
little.
in your day.
They're a lot.
Yeah, they're a lot. They do compound
They're
a
a lot.
lot. I agree.
They're a lot.
I think I got that lesson from, I don't know if you follow him, Alex Hormozy.
No.
He mentioned that like your dream life is built in the like before you go into work and then the 5 to 9.
He stole it from me. No, I'm kidding. No, it's true. It's true. I have to follow this guy, but it's true. So that's the first thing. And then you mentioned the first part of the question. Do you remember what it was? I forget now.
So I guess
it was a good piece. Shit.
About like your multiple career shifts.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, the reason why I'm asking
the balance in multiple career shifts,
the balancing of all of that.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people also want to have success in their 20s. They're like, if I don't make it by my 20s, it's like over. And you're here telling me you found Cortaditos at 35.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a myth that wealth is created majority in 20s. Now there's a lot more. There's a lot more than it ever was. So it's a great time that you can get lucky or talented and become wealthy in 20s. It's possible. But if you research, studies show that most wealth is created from someone time is 40 and up, right? 50s usually. Just because if you're executive, those are high earning years. If you're a business owner, it takes time to build it and cash out or whatever you want to do with the money. So those are usually, it takes time to build. And the journey of that 5 to 9 for those 10, 20 years are usually what accumulates into those moments or those years. But to the question on balancing multiple careers and shifts and the word balance, it implies that like literally a balance, if I put 2 here, it would bring the balance up. So to bring it back to balance, I have to put 2 here. For example, it implies that you have to be constantly measuring and equating to make sure that this is equal for it to be balanced. And that's not a premise I operate under. Because if you want special results in anything, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business, whether it's a physical goal of your body, health, You can't do the bare minimum, or you can't equate it to something else. You naturally will be out of balance if you're going to do something special. Again, whether it's anything, right? If you want a great relationship with your spouse, you have to do more than the equal of everything else.
Correct. That makes sense.
So balance for me is not, I don't view anything as balance. I don't care about balance. I don't want balance. Balance to me means I'm becoming normal, and I don't want to live normally. I want to have a different way of living. And so I want to define my own way of living. So balance is in the garbage for me. It's in the past, 20 years ago, tops. I deposit my time and energy where I feel energy, and where I feel fuel, and where I feel motivated, and where I feel accepted, and where I feel that I'm providing value. And I don't measure that time. I understand what is the end goal, and I go all in for whatever it is. So if I have to contribute everything in the balance, and the balance is out of whack, that's fine with me. Because as the other roles I play, I understand how to be present in those as well. I don't want to have to be present. And the major one that always comes in question, where I'm always in a conflict for time, is being a parent. Always. And it's not just me. I think everyone is always in a conflict for time, right? And attention. So balance is out the window. Throw yourself into whatever you want to, whatever fuels you and whatever you can provide value to, without any thinking of time or value. In fact, where you lose, where time goes and you don't notice it, is probably we're in the right place, right? So if your time is flying and you're losing track of time, you're probably doing the right thing, right? If you're looking at the time, that means you don't want to be there, right?
Yeah, that makes
sense. So go all in on everything and anything that is passionate for you or important to you. As a parent, I think it's just super important to be present. So I find that I define my success largely by how well I can also be present. So I'm very proud that through the things you mentioned, whether it's I'm being a Coast Guard an officer, or a founder of an award-winning nonprofit that's national, or a business, I'm very prideful that this morning I dropped my girls off for school. I pick them up most days. I bring them to their jiu-jitsu practice 2 days a week, and swimming other days a week. And when I'm there, I fight to be uber present, right? So phone is usually down unless it's an emergency, and I'm engaging with them. And as long as you're present where you are, then I think with the right intentions, then I think you're okay. So you have to understand your intentions. Like, what are my intentions? Am I just cumpliendo, which is just like, how do you say cumpliendo, coño? Like showing up, checking a box?
Just showing up and checking a box.
Just checking a box. Yeah. If that's it, then you definitely should question your use of that time and your intentionality. But if you're true, like I truly care to understand them, my kids, and be present with them and laugh with them and understand their idiosyncrasies. And so I know my intentions are good. I know I'm fully present. And I know I'm very present in their life in general with logistics and stuff too. So I feel that is a big success. Like if I had a big win, apart from being Kaya and impacting students and kids, the big win is the ability to do all that and still be present. Because it's easy to say, especially as a man, as chauvinistic as that may sound, it's still more accepted for a man to be doing whatever while the woman's at home. So I could easily check that box, all these boxes that you're saying, oh, it's Coast Guard weekend, I'm out. Or it's busy time, Cortaditos, right? Busy season, accounting, I have to do the account. Whatever I can choose in 10 hands and my toes ways to spend time right now. And they're all valuable. I could do something for nonprofit. I could do something for Cortaditos. I literally have to do something for all those things. So I could do that. But choosing to spend time with my kids and still balancing it is a huge thing I'm very proud of.
Thank you.
So balance out the window.
Yeah, for sure.
Be present
I think
for people that you care about.
And I think choosing what you value and prioritizing, essentially knowing who you are and choosing to be in those places that you value most. And then once you're in those places, you're present.
1000%. And I think hearing you speak, I think you have to do an episode of someone interviewing you to get your answers out there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Like a special, like holiday special. I don't know.
Yeah.
Special.
Thank you.
She's getting interviewed. I'm going to thrive now. And it's like me.
You did mention something about taking care of your body and your health, which I also think is super important. It's a very good, important quality to have from a high performer or a very successful entrepreneur. What things do you do to help you thrive in your life and in your physical, mental, emotional well-being?
If people were to ask for like a secret, like one thing, they don't want to watch this whole thing and just say, give me one thing that I can employ in my life to make my life better in anything, I would choose from a few different pieces of advice. One of them is around the reading, because being a reader and committed to reading and learning, it could change your life. You can heal your mind and grow into a person that you've never been before or that you want to be. There's so much power in reading. But another one that I would be in, it would be in competition, that I would have to choose from, would be becoming addicted to some sort of consistent physical activity. Addicted, not like I have to do it, not like me toca, it's Tuesday or it's this day. No, being committed and addicted that this is part of your life forever. It's not like a fad. It's not a time in my life when I was in my 20s. It's not so it's omnipresent. Physical energy, physical health is arguably the most important thing. Because everything is important. You have priorities. I give you all my priorities right now. They're so important. But what happens? Once you lose your health, none of them is priority. You just have to focus on healing and getting better, right? If you're sick, if I'm hospitalized, my Cortaditos meetings that I have in 2 hours doesn't matter. The nonprofit and things I have to do to make that work doesn't matter. Nothing matters until you're healed and came back in the game, whatever your game is. So the question is, how do you work back from that and say, okay, well, I don't want to be unhealthy. I don't want to be in a scenario where I'm taken from my game or whatever I care about. And you work back to the activities that would lead to a different outcome. It's obviously taking care of yourself physically, taking care of yourself very well, not just half-assing it, but actually going all in and becoming your version of whatever you care about fitness-wise. So if you're a runner, go all in on running. If you like to spin, we go all in on spinning. If you are a CrossFitter, go in on CrossFit. If you like to just lift weights, be committed to it for life. Your success largely depends on it, because your energy levels, your ability to show up, your confidence, even how people look. Like you look at someone when they're 30 pounds overweight versus when they're not, you're like, oh, this person's a different person. Like you start to see their face differently, they look differently, their confidence differently. It's just, there's so many angles about health and fitness that it is super important. So become addicted, become committed to a fitness journey as being a lifelong journey. For me, it's multifaceted at this point, because I was a very, very serious collegiate athlete in football. I was a captain of the team. I broke school records. I tried to turn pro, so I went to different pro days. So I was on a very, very high level of athletic ability and fitness in my early 20s. And I've really never taken my foot off the gas in that. I've always been committed to working out for whatever reason. Now I look back and I'm thankful of it, and now it's an intellectual choice. But I've always been committed to fitness in many ways, whether it's lifting, crossfitting, whether it's now, since being in the Coast Guard, I incorporate swim. Since being in the Coast Guard, I now do jujitsu. So my fitness journey is multifaceted, and I'm open to the ways which you'll grow that I'm not currently aware of now. Like before, I wasn't a big swimmer. The Coast Guard naturally brought me into swimming. I was literally, again, one of those humbling moments for me was being in FLETC, which is Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, for 3 months, and us having to go through a water survival training. I could send you pictures after. And
we'll put them on the...
You can put them after. And me being the only person in the class that failed the water survival training. And if you fail, you get 2 chances to remediate. And once you don't pass those remediations in any evolution, whether it's shooting a rifle, a pistol, a shotgun, fitness test, water survival, any domain that you're going through, a leadership training, there's academic pieces to it, you get sent home. So can you imagine me being away from my family, my businesses, nonprofit, my home, and I fail the water survival test, and I'm on the bridge of getting sent home? I was getting woken up at night from the attacks thinking about the fucking pool. Literally, waking up out of a cold sleep, I'm like, there's no way. So anyway, it thrusted me into understanding that I have a gap in my fitness journey as a physical person. I'm very physical. And I became a better swimmer since then. I swam the Hudson, like just crazy stuff. Yeah. Like,
He's like, I'm gonna just go.
If I identify it, if it's brought to my attention and I care about it, I'm gonna be the guy. Not yet. I'm the guy who sucks now. I failed. Like everyone passed. Everyone passed. Class of 20-something people, and there I'm drowning.
No.
And I'll give you the physical, like the visual, because there's some things like my mother on her knees crying when I didn't join the when she wanted me to join the military. Visual. I was going down under the water. Under the water, because you're in your full gear, helmet, belt, boots, and you have to do evolutions, swim down, tread water, all this other stuff, blow up an inflatable vest. Listen, if you're a good swimmer, it was cakewalk. I'm not a good swimmer. It was really, really challenging. Wow. So I'm going down, and there's a lifeguard in the pool, obviously, and I can see him from inside the water, and I'm like, this guy is not gonna fucking pull me out. I'm going up and down. I'm seeing him. I'm like, I'm waiting for him to come get me. And they make you tap out, or unless you're going to die or something, they pull you out. And I finally realized, I looked at him and I looked at the side and I got, this guy's not going to pull me out. So I went down again, came up. And as I'm grabbing the side to pull myself out, to quit, because I failed, I go, in my head, I swear, I go, this is why I'm here, to fail. It's easy just to think one success, and oh my God, another Cortaditos, you're so great, nonprofit. And you just build on these successes and they build your ego, It's good to fail in a meaningful way. I don't mean like faking it, like, oh my God, I failed this rep on my gym. No. I was gonna get kicked. I was gonna get kicked out of that training and get sent home after 8 weeks of being there. Can you imagine me coming home? Oh, I failed, honey. I gotta go back sometime. Or maybe not. Like what? No. Yeah. I'm failing. He's watching me. I'm pulling myself out of the pool and I'm thinking, I'm here I realized I'm in this to fail, to get down and build myself back up in a whole new way with a whole new capability, right? So now I swim probably like once or twice a week. It's part of my workouts. Do jujitsu. That was from the Coast Guard again. Me thinking I'm in shape, whatever I can, this guy who's showing this defense tactic, whatever, puts me in like some freaking pretzel and chokes me out. I'm like, how's this guy doing this? I have to learn this. I feel like a little kid being thrown around this mat. So I had to learn it. So I went back, signed for jiu-jitsu. I've been doing it, for 2 years now. So I like jiu-jitsu. Anyway, the fitness journey, to end the point, I don't want to go off to too much of a tangent, is extremely important, and maybe one of the most important, if not the most, to anyone's long-term success, because you have to be strong and you have to be ready mentally, which is connected to the physical. So definitely for your audience, definitely double down on being addicted and committed to some sort of fitness journey that lasts a lifetime. Not the next 2 weeks, not for the six-pack abs in the summer, not for your wedding, not for whatever pictures, for life. Like I'm talking into your 70s, 80s, and 90s, working out hard. I agree. Thank you for sharing that very special moment. We will share that. I'll show the picture. It was not video. We'll get that photo or video for you guys. There's no video, thank God. But there's a photo of me afterwards. Yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up. I would love to know, take everything that you shared with us today. Wow, you really took us there. So thank you. I really feel like I was there. Like it's a pleasure. I love that. Take everything away that you've built. What do you feel like is your life's purpose? Wow. Like, what were you put on this earth to be or give to others? Was that on the script? I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this one. That was just La posita en chino. That's a tough one. Oh man, I should probably define this on my own. You can try, maybe. Yeah. My life's purpose. I think it's like my life right now, which is multifaceted. So I don't think there's just one thing. I think it's multifaceted. But in general, if I were to broad stroke those different facets that I think will accompany me in my life forever, it is leadership in the community, and that community continues to grow, and that's not just locally anymore, that's globally. So I do believe that I am, on a global stage, a leader for positive impact and inspiration to others, not as a perfect example of anything, because I'm very perfectly imperfect. Like there's some really good imperfections that are just like, oh my God, imperfect. But that is an example of positivity, of helping others and leaving everything that I've touched and that I've been a part of better than I found it. Yeah. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you for having me. This is a privilege. Yeah.
I did have some rapid fires just so the audience can
Tira,
kind of
tira,
get
tira.
a little, let's add a little sazon here.
Yes.
All right, so I did go into the Cortaditos menu because I'm not a big coffee drinker. I'm more of a matcha girl.
Okay. We have matcha.
So 2 kilos, cafecito or a café con leche. What's
2 kilos.
2 kilos?
Which is an espresso. Yeah.
Is that stronger?
It's just espresso with nothing. The way we put that title is in
I
Cuba.
like it, though. I
In
like
Cuba in the old days, that's what it cost. 2 kilo. Like, I don't know what the moneda was, but it was just 2 quarters, I guess. 2
So
kilo.
just give it to you
and
straight.
and they would give you an espresso and a little cup of water. So we put 2 kilo for our
I
espresso.
like that.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, what's one Cuban dish that brings you back to your childhood?
Vaca frita, which we don't have in Cortaditos. It's a plated food. We don't have, like, we're not a restaurant. We're fast casual. But vaca frita is what brings me back directly to my grandmother's kitchen.
Love that. Who is your favorite Cuban artist?
Artist, wow. Music, you mean singer?
Yeah, whichever.
Right now, Leonie Torres.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. What's one thing you value now that you didn't before?
That I didn't before. Oh my God. It's supposed to be rapid fire. It's like
I
slow.
know,
It's like slow fire for me. Oh man. Solitude. Time with
Time
just
alone.
time with just your thoughts.
Love that. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Adam San Miguel. How can people work with you? If they want to collaborate with you, they want to connect with you. How can they find you?
Social media, Instagram handles for both the Cortaditos coffee business and the Gaia and Cuban American Alliance for Leadership and Education nonprofit. One is Gaia.org, so CAALEORG is our handle. And on the Cortaditos side, it's Cortaditos Coffee is our Instagram handles. You can message me there. So other people take care of them as well, but I see most of it. Or info@cortaditoscoffee.com is an email, and info@gaia.org is an email as
We'll
well.
put all of that in the show notes for everyone. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.